Hello everyone and thanks for watching.
Hello everyone, this is Bill, Senior Technician with Computer Garage LLC. I apologize for not putting out a video recently. It's just been kind of a hectic time with us, which is kind of unusual for this time of the year. Usually we're a little bit slow, but we had a couple of big issues come up. One, Google Plus is closing down, and so we're migrating out of Google Plus over to MeWe.com, and you can certainly join MeWe if you wish to follow us there. It is designed very much like Google Plus. If you have never heard of Google Plus, it's not going to be a site for you. It's very much like Facebook, but the difference is there's a lot more privacy controls. For example, on my personal profile, obviously, I have what's available on my wall. But you, as a person viewing my profile, would not be able to see the things that I have liked or the things that I have commented to, and so on and so forth. Likewise, if you post something on your wall and we're friends, your post does not show up on my public wall for everyone to see. It'll show up in my personal feed, but it doesn't show up on the public wall. So you would have no idea what, say, Jane from somewhere else had publicly said, because it's not going to show up on the wall. Now, the groups work a little bit different. If you publicly post in a group, then obviously it's for the public to see. And so it was one of the things I've always liked about Google Plus is the fact that they separated private and public information very well. It's a shame that Google Plus is going away. Google had announced it last year following a major security breach where they said they had been compromised to something like 250 million accounts, which all of us on Google Plus kind of like chuckled at. It was like, okay, well, Facebook loses 500,000, Yahoo got busted for 1 billion, and you're going to close down a social site because, you lost a quarter or 100,000. So it was kind of like, or 250,000. So it was kind of like we all kind of laughed at that. But I think the downfall to Google Plus has been that people just didn't know how to use it. It's not one of those things where you join. You throw in some email addresses, you find all your friends and family, you add them, and they add more friends and family, and so on and so forth. Google Plus, you always had to kind of do it yourself, and that was one of the reasons for the privacy and why it worked so well. The other thing to that, I think the other downfall to Google Plus was never monetized. Seriously, there's no ads on Google Plus. There's no ads on MeWe. That's why I like it so much. The only ads you're ever going to see is, well, like if I post one, and if we're friends, you may see that in your personal stream. But yeah, there's no monetized advertising like Facebook. So there's no column off to the one side that's all the ads, and so on and so forth. So they've never made money off of Google Plus. I think that's the other thing that contributed to Google deciding to close it, which is a shame. If they would have monetized it, I would have had no problems with them doing that. I mean, they've monetized just about every other website and application they own. I mean, if you have Gmail, you get the suggested emails at the top. If you go to Google and you do a search for something, the first 4, 5, 6 options are paid advertisements. If you go over to Yahoo, or if you go over to YouTube, there's ads everywhere. So why they never monetized Google Plus to make it profitable, I have no idea. But yep, it's closing down April 1st. All accounts that are on personal or on Google Plus that are personal are going to be deleted. And it's a shame. There's a lot of people that was there. At one time, Google Plus was the second largest social media network in the world. But again, it fell away basically for lack of support. And so it's been down to a number 11. I think recently when I looked at it was number 15. And of course, everyone's moving over to different platforms since Google announced that they were closing it down. So I've moved over to MeWe. Some people have moved over to Plusporia. Some people have switched over to Instagram and Twitter and so on and so forth. So Google Plus, you will be greatly missed when you go away. Those who are dedicated to you, such as myself, we will be there till the day you turn off the lights and we sign in the next day and it says 404. website not found. So goodbye, Google Plus. I've loved the service that you have provided. It's just a shame you're going away. Um, but in the meantime, like I said, hello to MeWe.com. Again, MeWe was been around since 2011. I think that's what the website said. Um, it's not even popular enough to be ranked in the top 25. Um, so it's a very small social media site. Um, and again, it's more very similar to Google Plus, where you got to put in some information to find some people. Usually, the fastest way to find people is go join some groups, which unfortunately is a little bit harder to find than Google Plus. But if you just go into the groups tab and type what you're looking for, usually you can find it. Um, in fact, their search parameters, they're going to give you your posts, your groups, your pages, and so on and so forth, and you can just scroll through and join or apply to a join, anything you want. And then, like I said, that shows up in your personal feed. That is not available to the public. So if you're one of those people who enjoy looking at tons of photos of the variety of type that most people would find offensive, nudity, so on and so forth, it's not going to show up on your personal profile. It's not going to show up on your personal profile. If someone looks at your personal profile, they're only going to see the photos as it relates to you, what you have posted. So in that regards, if you keep your personal posts clean, no one will ever know that you belong to, a group that, promotes a lot of erotic photos. So in that way, it's kind of good. There are public groups on there, for example, IT professionals that I belong to. Um, Everyone can join that. It's a bunch of geeks. I often refer to them as the brain hive. So when I have a problem, I can ask them. And with 13,000 members in it, with a variety of skills, usually someone has an answer. So it helps in that regard too. Um, so some of the other things that are going on, of course, hopefully everyone knows this, but probably not. Windows 7 retires next year. Next January 14th, 2020, Windows 7 retires. Now, for the average person, what does that mean? Well, just like when Windows XP retired, you no longer get updates and support. You probably even will get the screen on the message like you did with XP saying, hey, this is a retired operating system, we're no longer supporting it. You can continue to use Windows 7. In fact, there was an article I read that said that it'll probably take up to 6 months to a year before Windows 7 is corrupted enough from everyone tearing it apart that it would be really unreliable. So if you're one of those diehard people who just absolutely love 7, you've tried 10 in the past and it just didn't work out for you, I would suggest if you want to continue using it, by all means, just be aware that anytime an operating system retires, it basically becomes available to every hacker in the world to tear it apart. And yes, they are going to tear it apart in droves. Windows 7 is the second most popular operating system that Windows had ever put out. Windows XP being number one, and it will probably be number one for a long time until a whole bunch of us die who remember the days of Windows XP. But Windows 7 is the second favorite operating system of all time for Windows users, and sadly it's going to be retired next year. So you've got a whole the rest of the year to kind of decide on what you want to do. If you want to make the transition back up to Windows 10, I certainly give that suggestion. I tell that to people. Yeah, I tried it when it first came out and I didn't like it. Well, anything new, I tell people wait a year anyways, but I would say give it a try again. It's not perfect. It does have its own little bugs and flaws. Mostly that comes around from the updates. It seems like it seems to be, at least from my professional observations, every time an update comes out, 3% of the computers will die. And it's not that they die completely, although we've had one or two actually do that, but it's not that they die completely. It's just the update somehow or another corrupts the operating system so badly that we have to pull the hard drive, recover your personal files off of it, reinstall the operating system, put back what files that we can. Your personal files, we can usually get those with no problems, but your software is where it comes to be a problem. If we don't have QuickBooks on hand, we don't have Quicken on hand, you have to tell us what you have, or if we see it in the folders, and we know we can download it for you, we'll do that, but we usually don't have your license key to reinstall the software. So that's where the problem lies in. So yeah, you're going to have to upgrade. Probably around October is when Microsoft is supposed to release their new operating system. I think they're calling it Windows Core. And this is where they're going to start really pushing the Windows as a service option. Excuse me. The Windows as a service is something they have been pushing for quite a while. It's just been a slow, gradual process, so not to completely undercut their profit-making software. Windows as a service is going to be, if you have Office, whether it be 2013, 2016, now the 2019, or Office 365, you've seen over the years that they have been migrating from a standalone product to a web-based, cloud-based product, such as Office 365. That's what they're going to be doing with Windows Core. What will happen is when the operating system is installed, it's going to put just the bare basics on there, and with the bare basics, it's going to, access the processor, access the RAM, access the hard drive, and then anything else you want added on is going to cost you a small fee, either a nominal fee, and it's paid for the life, or it's going to be a reoccurring monthly fee. Not quite sure how they're going to do it yet. They haven't been really clear. So we'll just have to wait and see, because I know Microsoft has changed their thought process in this probably a half dozen times over the last few years on how they're going to do this. So they'll probably do the same thing as they did with Windows 10 when it first came out. Oh, we'll just give it away, and they'll give it away for up to a year. And that's basically, if you're in that time period, you're a guinea pig. I hate to say it, but it is true. And the one thing we found with Windows 10, and you can even ask James over in the Monroeville store with this, when Windows 10 first came out, it seemed like and if you upgraded from Windows 7 or Windows 8 to Windows 10, let me specify this was the upgrade, not if you bought new. It seemed like they were burning out hard drives. Don't know why, don't know how that came to be, but on average, a hard drive on an upgraded computer would die within 9 months. And so something to kind of remember in the background too, that if you are planning on upgrading to the new operating system when it becomes available, make sure you have your files backed up on an external device somewhere or in the cloud. So just to save your personal files, make sure you have your downloaded software or your CDs or DVDs somewhere, so when and if that hard drive fails, we can help you along. So anyways, other news. Again, going along with the retirement of Windows 7, this is going to be especially important for those who are in the medical field. This is going to be your doctors and so on and so forth. Most of the primary medical field has already switched over to Windows 10 or some new modern operating system. I've occasionally seen a Ubuntu type operating system in an office. I was kind of surprised to see that. But if you're in the medical profession, you definitely need to upgrade your computers to Windows 10 before January, and that's basically for HIPAA compliance. HIPAA requires that, at least on the computer tech side, HIPAA compliance requires that you are using a modern operating system, not a retired one. There are a few exemptions for this. Some of the exemptions for not using a modern operating system would be if you have specialized diagnostic tools that will not work on an operating system newer than what is on there. That's great. You can certainly use that device. It's just that device cannot be hooked up to the internet. Internal networking, that's fine, but so if you have a diagnostic tool, X-ray machine, whatever, that will remain on Windows 7 after retirement, One, that device needs to be certified as exempt, and certainly we can do that for you. It doesn't take too much time to do that. And then you have to block internet updates for that device. Now with Windows 7, it's kind of easy to do. Windows 10, a little bit harder, but for Windows 7, you can block internet access to that device, but still allow the network to work properly. So it's just a matter of going in and adding a filter to the operating system. Again, we can do secondary support for that, and secondary support is basically talking geek to geek. A lot of my medical professionals, they're specialized in their field, um, but they are not specialized in computers, and so we do a lot of secondary support for a lot of our medical professionals. So we take if we need to, we will contact the manufacturer support team and find out what we need to do to secure that device for the upcoming changeover in January. And then if we need to have a exemption for you for HIPAA, we can do that for you. But I do need to work with those secondary companies, or I do need to work with those manufacturing companies, so we can get those taken care of for you, because I have a good feeling what's going to happen is February next year, all the HIPAA police are going to be out and about, checking medical facilities and medical doctors' offices and make sure they're in HIPAA compliance. They don't really hit our area a whole lot during the normal course of activities. They do pop in here every once in a while, but not very often. But I have a feeling that anytime an operating system retires, there's a big bump in the HIPAA police doing their job. If you've never heard of the HIPAA police, just get a hold of Medicaid and Medicare, or the Department of Health and Human Services out of Washington. Those are the people who are in charge of doing that. So yes, medical professionals, even if you're an ancillary service, eye doctors, dentists, x-ray technicians, whatever, you definitely need to make sure and plan for your computers to be upgraded to the newest operating system. You can either do it yourself, you could do it through your manufacturer providers if you have specialized equipment, or you can contact us and we will assist you through the process. So, yep, it just needs to be done. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. If you've gotten so accustomed to using your computers in the way that they have always worked for the last God knows how long, sorry. When Microsoft retires an operating system, it involves change, and I know a lot of you don't like change. If it works, why fix it, right? So, but anyways, it is what it is. So if you need assistance, give us a call. We'll be glad to help you make this transition over from your Windows 7 to whatever operating system we need to move you over to. And we'll work with your equipment providers to make sure that we get you transitioned over, or if we have an exemption for you. Those who are in retail or businesses who take credit cards, this is going to apply to probably more than half of you also. If you're running your credit card systems through your computers, and this is like a chip reader or a card swiper that is connected to a computer, again, you're going to have to upgrade to Windows 10 for PCI DDS compliance next year. Sorry, just the rules. I don't make them. If you have a standalone unit, and surprisingly, I found that there's quite a few businesses around here who do have standalone units. So if your credit card processing goes through a cell phone network or through a phone line, if you don't want to upgrade your computers, that's fine. I'd still recommend it. But, if your credit card processing equipment is standalone, doesn't plug into a computer, doesn't process through a computer, doesn't go through a website, you should upgrade it. If it is, standalone, you're okay. If it's attached to a computer, you need to upgrade the computer to a modern operating system per the compliance of PCI DDS. And again, I'm not sure how the PCI compliance is going to work on this. It's only been kind of in the last 2 years that they have really pushed the PCI compliance stuff. I was looking at their website and I didn't realize that PCI DDS has been around for over 10 years. this is the organization that does credit card processing standards. I didn't know they'd been around that long. But everyone got converted over to chips, and how many of us in the beginning hated the damn chip? I mean, I did. Swipe and go. But now that we've all kind of gotten used to insert chip, or something like that, we've all kind of gotten used to it. So PCI DDS is a real thing. If you, again, have a chip reader or a card reader that's tied to a computer that does the credit card processing, you need to upgrade to Windows 10 or newer operating system. If it's a standalone unit, and there's quite a few of those around the area, the upgrade is not mandatory, but you should really consider doing it anyways, just for peace of mind. So anyways, what else is going on? Those are the two big ones I really wanted to talk in this video. The retirement of Windows 7, the retirement of Google Plus. And so with that, I think we'll kind of end there for now. This is going on 20 minutes. I'm kind of impressed that I could talk this long. If it's kind of quiet and low, I'm using a headset, over-the-head headset. Never really intended to get this heavy into YouTube videos, so it means eventually I'm going to have to buy a better quality microphone, and probably better quality software for making better quality videos. I know I would like to really explain how this big rush on VPN software that everyone's talking about. I think you got NordVPN and so on and so forth. They claim to be able to do a whole lot of things, and they do provide some of those services, so it's not wrong. But if you think that it's keeping your information hidden from your ISP, you're sadly mistaken. It just doesn't do that. Yeah, it encrypts the data, and Spectrum and Frontier, they see the envelopes that are coming back. They know what you're doing. If all of your packages and your emails and everything is coming from one particular service, they know. It's not hard to figure it out. And then you just look at the encryption, find the public key, and decrypt it. It's really not hard. So VPNs, should you use them for public information or public networks such as McDonald's, hotels, and that? Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I have an extra layer of security. But for you sitting at home with your desktop, it's really not going to do you any good, because they can still find out and know what you're doing. So with that, like I said, I'd like to do a more comprehensive video on how the VPNs actually work, because there's a lot of hype and confusion over it. Personally, I tell you not to waste your money, because it's just it's one of those things that they've hyped it up. Oh, you have to have it. Everyone on the internet can see what you're doing. No, they can't. I mean, if I really wanted to know what you were doing when you were in a public network, I can go in there and turn on packet sniffing on my computer and see what everyone's doing. It wouldn't be just one person. If I really wanted to see what you was doing in your house, I can put a vampire tap on your cable line and see everything coming and going. So it's not that hard to circumvent a VPN. So just in that, like I said, I'll get around to making that video eventually. It might be a while, and that's because I just don't have the video technologies to put that type of video together to adequately explain it. But if you have questions, you can give me a call, and I'll do the best I can verbally. So anyways, yep, the highlights for this video: Google Plus retiring April 1st. If you have Windows 7, we're going to have to change you over to the modern operating system. And of course, VPNs for the most part are crap. So anyways, you all have a great day. If you enjoyed this, please like and share this video, and definitely subscribe, because I've got all of 3 subscribers right now. And so I always need more subscribers, because the higher my numbers, then the more free advertising I get from YouTube, Google. And so, yeah, I mean, if you have questions, drop a question in there. I'll do the best to create a video to help you along. Anyways, so you all have a great day. It's still February. Keep warm. So, again, like, share, and subscribe to the video. I appreciate it. Thank you.